Hey, welcome to the Geriatric Millennials with Jayme and
Beth.
We are two youngish, oldish ladies.
Yes.
Today we're talking about friendship.
Yes, in your
Friendship
40s.
in your middle age.
Yes.
It's not middle ages, middle age.
Friendship in the Middle Ages. We have become historians.
I would be the worst historian ever because I don't even remember last week.
Yeah. It's fine though.
It is. I have these memories that pop up occasionally from my life. And I'm like, wow, I remembered. Surprising. I don't know what's wrong with my brain. I've been taking fish oil, like you said.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's helping.
There's nothing wrong with your brain. You are just a very present person.
I don't think I am. I think I'm very futuristic.
Really?
I mean, is that the right word?
I feel like you live in the moment.
I do live in the moment, but I'm also always trying to figure out what next thing is on my calendar that's going to be fun.
Yeah, but when you're in the moment of, like, you're not in your dance class, distracted trying to think about the next dance class, right? Maybe that's not the best thing because I know you're dance obsessed.
No, you're right.
Yeah.
You're right.
Like
but as the evening winds on, I mean, if I'm not in a class, but say an event, as the evening winds down, I'm already thinking about the next, like, when's the next one?
Because you've had so much fun because you've been
exactly. You know what? This reminds me. We had a conversation at my work and we're doing this whole strengths training thing.
Yeah.
Anyway, we had to describe like our perfect work day or our ideal work day. I described this event and why it was great and like what I liked about it. And it was like this really super fun day. And I think that the person thought that I missed the assignment. Like I didn't do it right because I was supposed to describe like a normal work day. And I'm like, no, that would be my ideal one. like if it was like a party every day, that would be great.
Yeah. That is you as a person.
So
like, anyway, I love that.
Anyway, I don't know how I went on to that. But anyways, friendship.
So I have a legitimate question for you is when was the last time you made a friend, not an acquaintance, but an actual friend that you might go to lunch with, hang out with a little bit, text with as an adult?
Okay. I would like to define a little bit more clearly the difference between acquaintance and friend.
Okay. Because
I feel like there's a lot of acquaintances that I would text and I would do that with, and then they would become my friend. Or maybe they're already my friends and so I don't understand. I don't know.
An acquaintance, I define acquaintance as someone that like you might have small talk with. They know a little bit more about you than the average person, but they're not going to be one of the people on your must call list for big events. You're not probably inviting them to like intimate dinner parties. If you're having a bigger party, you might have them over, but not like at the barbecue. Yes, but they're not staying for the after party.
So you're going to invite an acquaintance to the barbecue?
Yeah.
But only a friend to the after party?
Yeah.
I feel like you and I have different definitions. So this is going to be a good conversation because I have a lot of people that I consider friends and I would invite them all. I would. Maybe not to
a party might not be the best scenario for you. Of like,
everyone's coming to the party. Do I know you? Do I have your number? Does my friend have your number?
Yeah.
You're invited.
Yeah. So maybe for you, it's not a party. Maybe it's like an area of your life where you would only talk to about it with a friend. You wouldn't talk to it with about just anybody that you've met.
Okay.
Jamie's just,
I know.
Everybody's her friend.
No, I actually do have somebody in mind. I guess I'm making it a little bit more complicated, but it is one of those, that for me, that is a blurry line. It's a blurry line between acquaintance and friend because I make new friends. I say new friends all the time, but they're probably technically more an acquaintance. So I guess it's just hard for me.
Okay.
But to answer the question, oh my gosh, eventually I'll get there. When was the last time I made a friend? Just in the last couple months.
Okay.
Because of dance class, honestly, of course.
Yeah.
It's always coming back to that this year for me. But
it's a big community though here.
It's totally, and it's becoming more of that for me. So now I feel like I did make a new friend and we went for a walk together. We went out for coffee together. We've done, she invited me to her birthday party, like that kind of thing.
Yeah,
and
that's a friend.
Yeah, that's a friend. And actually we text somewhat regularly now, and that's a new person in my life.
I'm deeply jealous.
Are you?
Yes, because I only have like 4 friends.
Sorry. Well, and okay, so do you want to know how that happened?
Yeah.
So I had been seeing her regularly at class as an acquaintance. Okay, this is helping me. And there was one time that she came and she it seemed like something was wrong. And so I asked her about it. And then she didn't really want to tell me in that environment.
Yeah.
But then later she texted me because I can't remember why she had my number. I don't know. She got everyone's number. She's probably more social than me. But anyways, and then we started, then she let me know like on a little bit more of a personal level, what was going on, like why she was feeling sad or appeared to be sad or whatever. And so then there was more of a personal connection. Yeah. And then in that text conversation, I was like, want to hang out sometime? Because I'd like to get to know you better. And she was like, yes. And so then we made a plan.
There you go.
Yeah.
Friend date. Yes. That's nice. Yeah. I feel like that's a rarity as, at least for me, as I've gotten older to like make a connection that's deep enough to actually become friends and move past just like, we should get together sometime. Because there's a lot of that.
To actually do it.
To the action of becoming friends. To the.
Well, and it takes both people.
Oh yeah.
And it takes creating space in your life because, dude, everybody's got full lives and like jobs and commitments and routines.
Well, and in my experiences, people find their friend groups and then it's just like, that's their group of friends. And a lot of times it's couples and they're like all in this similar stage of life, you know, raising kids or whatever. And it's kind of hard to break into those circles, you know, when people have been friends for 15 years. And it's a lot of catch up to try and like understand the vibe and the inside jokes and all of that stuff. And I don't know. I'm always trying to break in. Like I'll set my sights on someone. I'm like, I want that person to be my friend. It sounds a little desperate, but maybe it is. And then I'll just tell them like, I can be very upfront. This has been my year of like trying to identify the people in my life that I really care about and that I really want to have more of a connection with and like being intentional about those connections. I have not done the best job at it, but I did make a giant list of so this sounds horrible, but this is my process for friendship. So I made this giant list of all of the people that I would consider a friend in my life, an acquaintance, whatever. And I went through and I started putting them into categories. Like who are like my core, my ride or dies, like the people I'm going to turn to first. Because for me, it's like I can't have more than about 3 of those people because those connections are so deep that it's like, it takes a lot of energy to maintain. And I'm always aghast when I see like a TikTok video or something on social media where they're like, me and my friends went away for a long weekend and they have 30 friends. And I'm like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Or the proposals, like for people when they do the bridesmaid proposals and they end up having like 9 bridesmaids, you know, or 12 bridesmaids. And I'm like, oh, wow.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think I could put 12 people together in a real way. Like, I mean, I could put 12 people together, but it wouldn't be that closeness. So anyway, just, it's amazing to me. So I made this list. So I had like, who's my inner circle? Like, these are my inner circle people. Here's like my close friends. Here's like my ring of like friends that are like, I can hang out anytime. And then here's like my acquaintances. And I looked at that and I'm like, who needs to be like elevated and like promoted into different circles,
moved into different circles. Interesting.
Yeah. Because it helped me to focus on like, okay, who do I need to invest my time in and like reach out through text and whatever to try and like foster those relationships. Because
good for you. I feel like that's a really good, like conscious practice to actually think about that and take time to actually write it down. I've never done that.
Oh, it was very eye-opening to see how I really viewed people after I like wrote it down and put them into a slot. Because it's like people I thought were inner circle. I was like, oh, you're really not. Because thinking about the conversations we have and the commitment and time that we're putting in together, it's like, oh, it's not really there. And it was just a really, I won't say fun, but it was an interesting exercise to just kind of see where I was at with my friends from my side. You know, it's from my perspective. So some people are like, Beth, I'm not in your center core person. We are acquaintances. We've met 2 times. But I don't know. I think that friendship is kind of challenging as I've gotten older. It's been harder to like maintain strong friendships with like as many people as I did like in my 20s. So it's just something I'm being mindful of.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah.
I feel like I have a lot of friends and I'm continually making new friends. I really do feel like that. And I just love it. I love making friends and I love having friends, but those groups or those friendships have ebbed and flowed depending on the season of life that I'm in. Right. And so that's kind of what we're talking about. the season of life as in your 40s. And for me, now this is a new this 40s is a new season friendship wise for me, for sure, because for the last like 12 years, I was a stay-at-home mom. And so many of my friendships revolved around like children.
Play dates and hanging out with
kids. Because
I
was with my kids 24 hours a day, because before they were in school, at least one, if not more kids. And I'm very social, so I needed to connect with other people. And so what do you do when you have kids? You find other people. I found other people that had kids and hung out while the kids could play. I could visit with the other parents. So that was kind of like, for a very long season for me, that was a lot of the friendships and the ways that I connected with people. But then my kids, in the last couple of years, my youngest went to school. And so that created some space in my life. And I was like, oh, like it's not the same now. It's not the same because I'm not like, let's go to open gym and sending out a text to the other mom friends with kids so that we can visit while our kids play. Yeah. It's like, I have no reason to go to open gym. Y'all can go to open gym without me, because I'm not going to open gym. Now I'm like, I don't want to do stuff. I'm not doing stuff with little kids. It's like a new world, you know? Yeah. So I found friendships kind of changed and shifted as my kids' season of life has.
Yeah. It's almost like sometimes you get into those situations. It's like the people you grow up with and around in like middle school, elementary school, high school. And it's like, oh, we're friends because we're going to school together and we've seen each other every day for the last 8 years. And then all of a sudden, like you're off in the world and it's just like a lot of those fall away.
Right. Because if you're forced to spend time with each other, then it's easy. It's convenient. But once those forced times or natural times fall away, it really takes an effort.
It's so much effort. It's beyond. And for me, it's been really challenging because especially when I was younger, I've gotten over it as I've gotten older, but when I become friends with somebody, I'm like, we're going to be friends for life and we're just going to be besties. And it's like, not in a weird codependent way, but just like, I just genuinely, like when I bring someone into my life, I love them and I care about them. This always bit me in the butt in youth ministry because kids come through. And so you're, building relationships with parents and kids and people. And then that season ends and then you literally never hear from them again. And you're like, but we were friends, you know, even though you're not. But that happened to me where I had to just take a breath and be like, are we really friends? Or is this just comfortable? Is this just a pattern? Is this just something we're used to, but we're not really like in a relationship that's bringing value to us anymore? Or, I guess what the thing is, like, what is a friend supposed to be? And it's like, for me, it's like, I just want people that are celebrating my life with me and doing life with me. And, just we're there for each other and in each other's business and that kind of stuff. And sometimes that just changes.
It absolutely does. And for me, having moved so many times, having to make new friends in a new place and still try to maintain friendships long distance. Fortunately, now it's a lot easier. I remember writing letters when I was really young to my friends. And it's interesting because there are a couple of those friends that I still would consider my friend today, but we don't write letters anymore, but we can see each other on social media type of a thing, which social media has
changed the landscape.
It absolutely has. And apps like WhatsApp. I'm in a WhatsApp group with friends that I have been friends with the longest in my whole life. And because of that app, now we are in contact almost daily. Wow. I have a group there's 5 of us, and we are literally in contact daily. So one of us talks and we keep up with each other's lives because of that app. Without that app, if I see them, of course, we're going to pick up where we left off. Yeah. But we are in 3 different countries. Yeah. So I'm never going to see them. Almost never. And so I'm really thankful for that because it's a really convenient and easy way to keep up and because you don't have to be engaged in the moment. Like I can just record a message whenever the heck I feel like it. And I can listen whenever it works for me. Yeah. And it's not like an immediate thing. You know what I mean? Like a phone conversation. Because I never talk on the phone with my friends anymore.
I know. I never call you. I've only called you like 3 times and they were all, I was in mass trauma.
and the phone is still a good tool too. But I don't know. Seasons of life. Yeah. It's seasons of technology. All of that influences it.
Yeah. And distance. And just, again, like I've grown. I feel like I haven't grown as a person at all in the last 20 years. I know.
That's
I
not
have.
true.
I have, but I don't see it because, you grow over time. It's like,
Okay.
when your waistband expands and you have to get new pants, you're like, when did this happen?
Yeah.
It's like, oh, I'm a different person. And I've had friendships where it's just like, we've just outgrown each other and it wasn't
Yeah.
anybody's fault. It just kind of, we just outgrew each other, or we changed so much that it wasn't, we're in the acquaintances now. So it's like, if I run into you, I'm going to say, hey, I'm going to be happy to see you, but we're not getting together. We're never going to, make good on that let's get coffee promise.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's just, for me, I make friends very slowly.
Yeah.
And I'm not out and about like you, Jayme. We know this. Like,
Yeah.
I make a friend and I'm like, cool, I'm good now.
Yeah.
Like if I had 3 good friends for the rest of my life, I would be fine.
Mhm.
Like, I wouldn't need to make another friend.
Mhm.
I'm trying to not be in that mentality all the time, but I'm trying.
I mean, I feel like I have a lot of I have the, inner circles, but I feel like I have like more than one inner circle,
Yeah.
And I think that, for me, I do have all these outlying circles too,
Mm-hmm.
different communities. And man, when those overlap, I freaking love it.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't, I love to see that and those connections happen. But I think it's a personality thing too, because I have a child who's got a couple, like a school circle and like a church circle and like a couple different circles of friends. And the thought of those circles overlapping is like terrifying to him. He's just like, no, like I don't want it to happen. And I'm sure there's layers to the reasons why, but I know that part of that is personality.
Yeah.
And just what that means as far as like being the one that connects
the bridge.
The bridge, exactly.
Yeah.
And, for him at this season of his life, that feels uncomfortable. But for me, I'm like, I want to be the bridge. I want to be the bridge.
Yes.
I love it. I love it. So
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think that's what like draws me to you a little bit, is that you are such a good, like, you could party every day. I really think that you could go to a different event every night. You could, you might need one night off to catch up on rest, but you would be like, oh, we're doing brunch on Sunday. We have a thing on Monday. Tuesday, we're going dancing. Wednesday, there's a boat tour. You would be into it. And I would do one event, be like, hey, Jayme, I'll see you in a week. Like,
yeah.
That's just the difference of my capability as like an introvert that pretends to be an extrovert.
Well, and that's the thing too, is the introvert extrovert thing and where you get energy from.
Yeah.
And I definitely get energy from being with other people.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I get it. Yeah. My battery's full in one event. And so,
Okay.
sometimes that will go for, I had a friend come over the other week and we just had drinks and stuff and we're talking, and they had like a really big weekend planned, and they're like, well, what are you going to do? I'm like, well, this was it. This Friday night that we got together, this was it. This will fill me up for the weekend. I will not need to talk to anybody until Monday at work.
Yeah.
And guess what? I didn't talk to anybody until Monday at work.
I love that. I will say that now that I am in my 40s, I do feel like I have a little bit more of a limit than I used to in terms of I don't have to make friends with everyone.
Yeah.
Whereas I used to feel like that in a way. And now, for example, one of my kids has at a sports event and there's all these sport parents, right? That were like regularly seeing each other. In the past, I would have made more of an effort to connect with all of those parents. And I don't feel that same need at this season of life.
Yeah.
Is that because I'm in my 40s? I don't know. But I did notice that because, there's an option to go out of my car and sit and like talk with the other parents. And often I'm choosing to stay in my car and do my own thing. Whereas in the past, I wouldn't have made that choice. So I don't know.
Interesting changes. Well, I've noticed as I've gotten older, or in my 40s, well, my late 30s and then into the 40s, is just that my tolerance is changed. And it's like any shenanigans with friends has really shifted. And the ability to like protect my own peace has shifted.
Yeah.
And, I've had toxic friends in the past where they might have not been toxic to everyone, but they were toxic to me. They were like kryptonite. And it's like, I would hang out with them and I found myself not being my authentic self. Like we all know I have mean girl tendencies. I like to talk. I like to gripe, but I was finding myself doing it in a way that wasn't my norm. Like, I don't know. If you're my friend, no, I've talked about you, but I do it as like a loving sister, not as like a mean biatch. It's very much just like, you'll never believe, but I love her kind of thing. Yeah. Or, it's just very like benign. It's not like, there's not any ill intent behind it or like, oh, I hate this person or I'm trying to sabotage them. It's just like when you're, just the day to day with our friends. And if anybody's out there, I would never talk about my friend. Yes, everybody does a little bit, or at least you have the thought of like that person's acting a fool tonight. But there's a difference between that and like actually like being mean to a friend or not being supportive or whatever, which I probably could be accused of too. I'm not the best. I'll put it all out there. Like I'm not like, I'm not always the one that's going to be first in line to like come bring you a casserole if something's gone wrong with your life. Like I show up where I can show up. That's what I've learned, because for so many years I put the pressure on myself to try and like be there for people, even when I didn't have the capacity to be there for people. And it led to it was to my own detriment. It left me in bad places of like not feeling fully myself or falling into like, having, anxiety or depression and things like that, because I wasn't taking care of myself and I was putting others first. And so I just started putting myself first, and I had a breakup with a friend, and it was really, really hard. And it was over the course of like 2 or 3 years. And then there was just one day where I was like, we're just not going to be able to hang out anymore. And it was really painful and challenging, and it made ripples throughout a lot of other friendships. But it was the best thing I could do to protect myself, because that friendship just had run its course. And it's not like I was trying to think about like, what happened that was so bad? Was there some big fallout? Was there a fight? Because, I watch a lot of Vanderpump Rules, and if you're not watching Vanderpump Rules right now,
what that is.
It is a trashy, amazing, delicious reality show about all of these people living in Hollywood that have been friends for a year, that do infighting and cheating on each other with each other and all this stuff. And I mean, I don't want to live that life, but it sure is entertaining to watch. And so there's all this drama right now because one of the main couples, there's been a cheating scandal, which had just broke recently. And so the season is just finishing up in March. So, midlife crisis March, here we go. But so it was nothing that extreme, because it's like, it's easy if your friend sleeps with your spouse to be like, we're not friends anymore. Yeah. But it was just a death by 1,000 cuts of just little things that after a while I realized, I don't think this is the healthiest thing for me. I think this relationship is one out of convenience, and it's to a place where it's like, not that everything, obviously relationships are give and take and whatever, but it was just weird stuff. Like when you feel like you're not being heard or listened to, or you're just a sounding board and you're a placeholder until something, better comes or there's something more interesting. It's just like, okay, I don't need to be a part of that. And so I don't know if anybody's ever had to have a friendship breakup, it's the most awkward thing. I ghosted this person, which is not like maybe the most mature thing to do, but it was the safest thing for me to do. And it's like, I've never done that before, which is weird, like just ghosting someone. And it was really challenging and hard. And I realized that I kind of became the villain in the story, and I had to come to terms with that. That's okay. Like sometimes you're going to be the villain in someone else's story, and that's okay, because you have to be the good person in your own story, like the savior in your own story. And so, yeah, it was challenging, but it's been a few years now, so it's less tangy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is hard though.
I wouldn't look forward to it. I mean, the only other time that's ever happened was like when I was in, elementary school, and there was like a fight on the playground, and that was dramatic and way more fun than this was.
Yeah. Friendships, it's interesting. I don't have the same type of an experience, although I feel like somebody did that to me. Oh, like totally ghosted.
Yeah.
And I think for me, it was during the pandemic, kind of in the beginning. And I know that a lot of relationships were kind of put to the test, or things came out of the woodwork, opinions, beliefs, ways of viewing things that you don't necessarily talk about all the time or notice when you're just friends and hanging out and having fun together. But then when you realize how different you are, not every relationship made it through that, because both people have to be willing and have a desire to continue their relationship. I thought it was really unfortunate. But yeah, I had a friend that just because we had such different views on things, just decided to cut me off and completely just be like, not my friend anymore.
Wow.
And we didn't have a fight or anything like that, but it was just kind of one of those things that I had to accept and just move on from, I guess.
I mean, what else are you going to do?
What else? Exactly. I mean, I have wanted to kind of confront that person and clear the air and just be like, what happened? But I know what happened in terms of what she did, why, and I think I know the reasons. But it's also kind of sad. But there's nothing I can do about that. No. I mean, I've reached out multiple times like, hey, you want to do this? I want to do that. And she doesn't. So anyways.
Wow. That was not my experience. Like when I was going through my friendship breakup, the person did not reach out in a way that was tangible. Yeah. Like, and that to me really told me all I needed to know.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. Because it's like, honestly, Jayme, if like tomorrow you stopped returning my texts and you're like, oh, I'm not doing the podcast with you anymore or whatever, I would like use every form. Like, I mean, I blocked this person, so that's trash. But
right, but you could drive to. You could have driven. You would drive to my house. I would drive
to your house. I would write you the door. I would write you an email. I would write you a snail mail letter. I would send you a package that you had to sign for.
Yeah, something.
I would do all the things in my power because that's how obsessed I am with you. No.
I was just going to say, I feel so loved.
Yeah, but that's because it's like, to me, that's like the level that you go to when you care about someone or you're really wanting to have closure and know why.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I know I've had friends that we've fallen away and fallen apart, or, and I've never asked why, like sometimes you don't need to, like you said, you don't need the closure. I think
it goes back to the circles, and it depends on like which circle, you know, is it inner? Is it outer? Is it another level? And is it on the outskirts? And on those outskirts levels, you just kind of are like, okay, you let it go, right? Yeah. It's not necessarily something you're going to put a lot of effort into. Yeah. But if it's an inner circle person,
definitely, like it's worth it. But I don't know what I think what I'm looking forward to as I'm, age is not going to stop until we're dead. So whatever. But as this path in middle years continues, I just really want to make the effort where people want the effort. You know what I mean? Where it's like the effort.
It's mutual. It's not a one-sided relationship.
That it's mutual, like life-giving. You know, that we enjoy our time together. Right. Like I would rather be by myself than to be with somebody that's not enjoying it. You know what I mean? That's just like annoyed or whatever.
Right. And that's not to say, I think we're on the same page with this. It's not to say that when somebody's going through a hard time that you're not there for them.
Oh yeah.
Right? Yeah. And so sometimes it feels more one-sided if somebody's going through a hard time and you are pouring into them and really making an effort to reach out because they're going through a hard time. Mm-hmm. But that doesn't last forever.
No.
And if it does, it might be one of those one-sided toxic friendships.
It's like, okay. And sometimes with those friendships too, as I found is like, I'm not going to end the friendship, but this is all I'm willing to give.
Yeah.
Like I have one friend that's a little bit toxic and just kind of a lot. And when they want to hang out, it's like, okay, I can hang out with you once every quarter. Yeah. That's all I can give.
Yeah.
And
I think I know who it is. Just kidding. No. Just kidding. Actually, there's a lot of your friends that I don't know.
Yes. Anyhow. So yeah, friendship. I'm glad we're friends.
Me too.
I'm glad we did the podcast so that we could force ourselves to become even closer friends.
For sure.
Because that totally happened. But yeah, and to anybody out there that is a friend that's listening and you're wondering what circle you're in, you can ask me. I'll tell you. I highly encourage everybody to do the friendship test and just see kind of like where do you put people?
Okay, so what about friends that are like Facebook or Instagram friends that you do really know, but that's like the only point of connection you have with them? What do you think about that?
I love it. Like there's people, I watch every one of their stories. I like every post. I have one person that I really care about her. I think she's amazing. I haven't talked to her in years. She lives in a different state and I watch everything. I consume all of her stuff. I know what's going on as far as her, what she presents on social media.
Yeah.
She, recently had like a death in their family. And so I reached out, after years and it was, just a quick moment type of thing. Yeah. But I love that stuff because it's just like, you don't have to talk.
Right. I know.
You can just,
there really is only so much time to pour in to each other and like actually get together with friends. So I do love that aspect of social media as well, of a way to kind of keep up with what's going on in people's lives as far as their actually sharing. I mean, it's usually pretty much a highlight reel.
Yes. But I find it very comforting and valuable at times because, I mean, not a lot of my friends don't have curated Instagrams. They're not influencers. So they're just posting like their real life, and some post more than other. But, and again, it is just a snapshot, but I still feel connected, which is, that is not real all the time. Well, but it is nice.
Then we've talked about this a little bit before too, is when you're following all these people that you don't actually know in real life, but then you feel like you know them and you feel like they're your friend. Yeah. But then you're like, it's like, they don't know who I am.
Not at all.
I've never actually met this person, but I feel like I know them. And I wonder if anybody who's been listening to you and I feels like that about us. Do you feel like we're your friends? I mean,
Jayme would be up for it.
I would be up for it. Yes, I want to. I seriously do. Beth's like, Jayme will be your friend, not me.
Okay. I didn't say that. We'd have to meet IRL. Okay.
Yeah. Oh, that's so funny.
Yeah. But definitely send us a friend request and let's all be friends.
Let's be friends.
Yay.
Hey, if you're enjoying this podcast and would like to support our show, you can share episodes with your friends and family, follow us on Instagram at the Geriatric Millennials, or leave us a positive review and rating, all which help us to grow. Our theme music was created by the Finley Ghost, so check out their latest album now. Thank you so much.